Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Alpha Podcast, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in the world of pop culture and sports. I am your host, Jayden, and as always, today I have an action-packed show for you guys. As you can tell, I repositioned my camera, wanted to go with a new camera angle, higher quality, deemed fit, time to move on from the old and in with the new. I kind of got tired of talking sideways to the camera like this, and I wanted to be more upfront and center with you guys because as I am talking, I am more comfortable as I am talking. But before we get on to that, I got a Marvel and pop culture heavy show for you guys because there has been a lot going on in the world of Marvel when it comes to rumors the last couple of days. But before we get into all that, I thank you guys for joining me. Be sure to hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap that notification bell to get notified when all of my videos go live. If you are listening via Spotify and Apple Podcasts, follow me on there as well. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the show. Something that happened in the movie industry to a film that is deemed huge, has a lot at stake for the MCU, and it got delayed. Not shockingly, though you may think. Yes, we are talking about the two upcoming Avengers films by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Avengers Doomsday was delayed from May 1st, 2026 to December 18th, 2026. And Secret Wars was delayed from May 1st, 2027 to December 17th, 2026. Both films are moving from the summer May window, which historically has been the Avengers release schedule for the past four films. They were all released in May. So they're shying away from the traditional thing that they have done in the past, and they are going to transition into the winter window, which a lot of people in the movie industry has deemed a prime time to release a film. Because if you guys were not aware, a film that was not associated with the Avengers, Spider-Man No Way Home, released in December of 2021, and they made over $1 billion. So I got two questions of why, or possibly, and again, these are my speculations. I don't know how true this is. The reason why that Marvel moved these windows. Number one, as I just stated, to potentially make more money. Given what has happened this year already with the Thunderbolts and with Captain America Brave New World, one may argue and one may surmise that the two films didn't make a lot of money. Two of them are relatively flops. There's an article that came out earlier this week that Thunderbolts is not even possibly going to cross $400 million. When early suggestions and early trackings and those who worked in Marvel really were encouraged and were thinking that it was going to cross the 400 million mark. And that didn't seem to be the case. As I am talking with you guys right now, I cannot remember exactly the final earnings for Captain America Brave New World, but I really don't even think it made $400 either. So you have two flops on your radar. The next film they have coming up is the Fantastic Four First Steps. And given the historical outlook of the box office for Fantastic Four films, historically, it has not been great. They haven't came out yet with projections of what their box office numbers and what they're looking for making, what they think Fantastic Four First Steps is going to make. I don't see a scenario, as I've stated before, it's going to make more than $600 million. If they even get $600 million, I think that's a win. I don't even know right now off the top of my head what the budget is. But the last movie that they released in December to date, if I'm correct, was Spider-Man No Way Home. It was a film with nostalgia, coming off of having characters introducing Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man joining Tom Holland's Spider-Man into a film with characters like Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus, and you had the characters Jamie Foxx, Electro, and so on and so forth. So a lot of big characters in one movie that catapulted the film in making over $1 billion. You can make the same argument for Avengers Doomsday. You got a star heavy cast. Chris Hemsworth is coming back to play Thor. Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom. Sam Wilson's coming back to play Captain America. There's rumors that Chris Evans is going to be back in the film. And there's a whole lot of other rumors that we are going to get to later on in the podcast. So it may be a smart marketing ploy for Marvel to say, hey, we haven't had success lately with releasing our movies during the middle of the year. Ant-Man and the Wasp came out in February. Thor Love and Thunder, I think it might have came out in the summer. A lot of films just came out in the summer and early in the winter. Well, later in the winter, the latter parts of winter in like February. Eternals came out in November, if I'm not mistaken. That didn't make a lot of money, obviously, because it's the Eternals. But the last project that you released that had star-heavy characters in a film was Spider-Man, and you made over $1 billion. A lot of films lately that has released during the holidays has made a good significant amount of money. One may think that this is a potential to make more money. But I'm leaning heavily towards this option. They need more time to make the film. As I can remember, they just started filming this movie a month and not even a month. They're not even 3 to 4 weeks into producing the movie and filming the movie. So you're meaning to tell me it's May, and they were going to have the movie done, shot, and filmed on top of a crap ton of VFX work that they had to do. I imagine for this film. Specifically, I saw in the still with Dr. Doom, Robert Downey Jr., he had dots on his eyes. They're going to CGI the mask. So I know they got a lot of heavy VFX work to do. And you were meaning to tell me you were going to have all of that done in time next year? I always said there's no way. Even when they had the reveal, I was sitting here like, man, they're just now revealing it. They're just now saying that it's into production. Now I know they've announced a project for a good year now. I imagine they've had the script done. They had an idea of what they're going to do. They're ready to shoot. I get it. But still, one can argue there was no way that this film was going to be ready next May. Something that Bob Iger has been talking about, and we talked about it before. Bob Iger has been shooting for quality over quantity. The more time you get, the more quality you're going to produce. Because we all got to be honest with ourselves. Marvel has not released a well-polished movie, VFX-wise and CGI-wise, in a minute. You may argue that the last film they probably did that looked very well made was Spider-Man No Way Home. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Eternals was pretty good as well. So it's been 2 or 3 years since Marvel has released a good, nice-looking film. By the time Doomsday comes out, it's going to be 2026. So that gives you roughly 4 years since Marvel produced a well-made looking movie. That's why I'm leaning towards this portion of the argument that they need more time. Given what I just explained to the fact that they were going to have all of this done with all of these characters in this film, all of this VFX work that is going to have to be done. And probably they're probably exploring different what they've wrote on script. They probably don't like so far, and they probably want to switch some things up. And that's going to take more time as well. Given that, what Bob Iger has been advocating for, and him and Kevin Feige have been on one accord, and wanting to push the quality over the quantity. That was the ultimate reason why both films were delayed. So I was not shocked by this. I was waiting for it to happen. I was sitting here, I was one of those who was always saying, I don't understand and I don't know how they're going to have this film ready to go in less than a year. And I know a lot of content creators have been saying that for a good while now. I'm not shocked to hear this. I think it's a great idea. Because I've said this, a lot is riding on this film. If this Avengers movie is not good, it could be the death of the MCU. I just talked about it in the last podcast. Many can argue, and I did make this argument as well. Fantastic Four has a lot riding on it as well. These upcoming projects for Marvel, specifically Fantastic Four and Doomsday, has the stake of the MCU in his hands. They have to deliver. I'm going to be interested to see what the numbers are looking like projectionally for the Fantastic Four. But still, I think it's a good idea. Pushing the movies back, making sure it is at the best possible quality made movie in all facets. I want the VFX work and the CGI to be fantastic. I want the acting to be fantastic. I want the narrative and the story to be fantastic. I want everything to flow. And I want it to be great filmed action. I want it to be entertaining. I want it to have the same variables that past MCU projects held, such as all the other Avengers films, such as Endgame, Infinity War, and the first Avengers movie. A lot of people crap on Age of Ultron, but I still relatively had a great time with it. Given what we've had lately in the state of Marvel, shoot, we would be clamoring to have a Age of Ultron type movie. One can argue, but that is my interpretation of that. It was a great idea. It was the right idea. I know a lot of people have been giving crap for the Russo brothers having their 2 cents in this project and directing it. I think it was the right idea. Because if the Russo brothers wasn't part of this project, I don't think they would have ever brought Robert Downey Jr. on. Or let's flip-flop that. Robert Downey Jr. wouldn't have wanted to come back. But that is all I have to say about that. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. What was your reasoning that you thought that Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars were delayed? Do you think it was because they wanted to make more money? Or was it because they needed more time to make the film? I already argued, and I think they might be a mixture of both, but I'm leaning towards the side that they needed more time to make the film. Because it is an Avengers movie, and historically they've come out in May, and they made a lot of money. I want to know all of your comments down below. Now let's move on into the next topic. I titled this section just MCU updates. Because my lord, has there been going on a lot in the MCU. I contemplated on talking about the Thunderbolts and them not crossing $400 million, but I'm probably going to say that's for a separate video. The first thing that we want to talk about, by a very credible source, Ghost Rider is reportedly set to be in Avengers Doomsday. This was coming from something that came across Twitter a couple of days ago. I cross-referenced it from all my trusty sources, and it seems like this is very legit. And on the tweet, it said they are currently exploring casting the role. One can surmise that given what they did with Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't see why this shouldn't be Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is currently not playing anybody in the Marvel Universe. We know he's doing a film right now with Spider-Man Noir, but that is separate from the MCU. But if they were to cast anybody, who would they cast? That's another problem. That's another thing to tackle down on another day. But do I like the idea of Ghost Rider being in Avengers Doomsday? Absolutely, sign me up. Love Ghost Rider. He's a great character. Underutilized character in the Marvel Universe. And with Ghost Rider possibly joining the team, I don't see why they wouldn't introduce characters such as the Punisher, Daredevil, and everybody else being in this film. I mean, it would fit the mold. Ghost Rider's part of that tandem. That's just my quick 2 cents about it. Will this be Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider? Or are they going to introduce a character that is brand new and by a new actor? I don't know. I don't know how you would necessarily introduce a new Ghost Rider, because this film is already inhabiting characters that have been played before. They're bringing back the old X-Men cast. To everybody that played Magneto, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart's Professor X, Cyclops, Mystique, Nightcrawler. These are just some characters that are going to be in this movie from past Marvel films. So if you're going to put Ghost Rider in this movie, there's no other way it's got to be Nicolas Cage. There's no reason why you would bring any other casting of Ghost Rider unless Nicolas Cage is not available and you cast somebody, but it's from Nicolas Cage's movie. That's the only way it's going to work, from my opinion. There's not really much else to say about it. I just wanted to put my quick 2 cents into it. And let me know what you guys think. Do you think Ghost Rider is going to actually be in this film? Do you think that all of this is just a facade, it's fake news? Although I think it's a trusty source. I want to know all of your comments down below. Moving on to the very next thing when it comes to Marvel news. Marvel recently removed 3 films from their schedule. And this is essentially from the Disney catalog. So I had some thoughts. I have only one main reason, and I really contemplated this for a good while. The reason why they would even get rid of future films after Secret Wars and Doomsday is for a reason that I have argued for since I started making YouTube videos. Secret Wars is going to reboot the MCU. I don't see a scenario, and this is the God's honest truth, given what has happened with the latest MCU projects, as far as box office numbers. I don't see a scenario with the current formula and the current way the MCU and the current route the MCU is going, that after Secret Wars, they are going to continue on the same path. I don't see it. Because they're writing, and this is why I saved what I said for Doomsday to this portion of the podcast. If they do not reboot the MCU at some point and bringing back your A-list characters, the MCU is just slowly heading to their grave. To its grave. I'm sorry. There's no way in a Marvel universe that fans are going to continue to live in a world where Iron Man, Captain America, Steve Rogers is Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and even Thor are not part of any sort of project. I know Chris Hemsworth is coming back for Thor in Avengers Doomsday, so I don't want to see your comments, and I know they're saying right now that they are actually writing up or this is rumors that they are writing up pieces for Thor right now as we speak, for Thor 5. But still, you cannot tell me right now, and we'll just scratch Thor out of it, without your 3 lovable characters in the MCU with Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow, that you are going to be able to continue the story past Secret Wars without those characters in the limelight. Because guys, even I've said this about the upcoming Avengers film for Doomsday. That cast outside of the nostalgia field characters is putrid. Not counting Chris Hemsworth. Let's just go ahead and take him out of there. We have an Avengers movie right now as we speak, starring Sam Wilson's Captain America, and I know this off the top of the dome. M'Baku, Simu Liu Shang-Chi, Letitia Wright's Black Panther. Those are your memorable ones. You got characters, including the X-Men that's coming back. You got the Namors. Then you have the Thunderbolts characters. And I know reportedly there are more people that are cast there that they are not announcing at the moment. But still, you're telling me with that roster of characters that you're going to pour in, that these characters are going to be able to carry the MCU past Secret Wars. Because guess what? Those X-Men, all the nostalgia characters are going to be gone after these Avengers movies. So let's just cancel out the X-Men. Throw them out. So you telling me with a team led by Sam Wilson's Captain America, Letitia Wright's Black Panther, M'Baku, Namor, and even if they still are going to introduce Daredevil and Punisher, those are going to be the people that's going to be in the MCU once all this is over with. Hopefully Thor can get another film. Captain America and Iron Man, these people have got to be part of this universe in some way, form, or aspect. They have to be. So the reason why I think these films got removed from the schedule is because I think they are probably flirting with the idea of a reboot. Thor 5 might be a film that might have been a part of this release schedule. And they might have just said, hey, I think after Secret Wars, we might just go ahead and pull off the reboot. It's something to think about. And it's something that if this does happen, when come December 17th, 2027, I don't think we should be surprised if that is a movie that is going to reset and restart the MCU. And we're going to have a fresh slate of characters. I don't know. Y'all let me know. Would you even be happy about that, of the MCU getting a clean slate? Or would you rather want them to continue down the path they are currently going with these characters? Same actors and all. I want to know all your comments down below. And then the last portion of this, when it comes to Marvel news. This is something that circulated yesterday. The Incredible Hulk, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, is reportedly set to be starring in Spiderman Brand New Day. I've saw a lot of rumors about this. A lot of people are saying that he is going to be the protagonist. There's a lot of people that said they're going to be the antagonist. A lot of people are saying that he is more likely going to be the antagonist. Many people are speculating that we're going to get Savage Hulk back. A lot of people are speculating it might be Maestro. When it comes, and I'm going to talk about specifically about the Savage Hulk thing. How in the world are they going to do it? Again, I'm not a comic extraordinaire. I am not a comic whiz. I don't know comics off the back of my hand like I know a lot of people do in the world. So I want to know down in the comments, somebody tell me please. From Smart Hulk, if there is even a comic book that reverts in a way that where Bruce Banner comes from Smart Hulk and reverts back to Savage Hulk. I need to know. Okay. I want to know how it happens. And I need details. Because right now, as we speak, I don't know a scenario and how they're going to pull this off. Because right now, the Hulk is Smart Hulk. I don't even know. I never watched She-Hulk. I don't even know what Hulk had going on in that movie, in that TV show, which I know he was still Smart Hulk and he was training She-Hulk. So it might be Savage Hulk, and it's something I read an article, and this guy was spot on too. What if it may be another film where Hulk is mentoring Spider-Man? He may be mentoring Spider-Man on how to deal with the fact that he is alone. And he is now the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. The whole world doesn't know him like they did in the past. And he needs a coping guy. Because Tony Stark is not there anymore. He can't revert to MJ. Ned. Aunt May's deceased. That is another argument there too as well. It's something that we're going to have to wait and have to develop because it's just a big I don't know. And this is from an outlet that has a lot of credible information and provides a lot of credible information. And a lot of big outlets shared the news that they posted. It may not be true. There's still a chance that this news may not be true. But historically, this outlet provides very factual information. So it's just something that we are going to have to wait and see about. Because if I do remember correctly, Brand New Day comes out July of 2026, I think. And a lot of speculation is going on with this as well that you could think about. Now that they postponed Avengers Doomsday to after Spider-Man comes out, this may open up the door to possibly, getting Savage Hulk back in some way, form in the Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man's going to be part of Doomsday because these two characters are characters that were not a part of the original release, the teaser release character reveal that they had for the Avengers movie, Avengers Doomsday reveal with the chairs. That's something we need to think about as well. And that kind of bolsters this from being a very true story. We're just going to have to wait for more. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you think this is possibly going to be Maestro? Do you think this is going to be bring Savage Hulk back in this film and he's going to be the main antagonist of this film? Or do you think this is just going to be another mentor role as the past Spider-Man films, just like Tony Stark was for Peter? I want to know everything down below in the comments. A big, huge story, and we're going to move on. That came out over the weekend. This weekend was Memorial Day weekend. Two films that did come out was Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch. Both films did very fantastic at the box office. I didn't really want to talk about Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible did make a lot of money as well. But I wanted to talk about Lilo and Stitch. I think Mission Impossible made $200 million with a $400 million budget. So they got a real uphill climb to get to if they want to break even or even make a profit from that movie. But this falls into the topic of what I've talked about in the past with the state of the movie industry, about people claiming that the movies are dead and they're not going to be the same like they used to be in the past. This is the reason why I think the movies have hope. This is why I think if you make good quality movies, people are going to go to the movies and see your movies. And I think that people still go to the movies. Because here's what happened. Lilo and Stitch opened to $341.7 million globally. Guys, put that into perspective. Lilo and Stitch, in one weekend, made more money and almost made more money than what Thunderbolts has made so far in their whole theatrical run. Just think about that. Put that into perspective. That's a lot of money. Granted, we're talking about an IP that is historic in the Disney catalog, that is beloved by a lot of people. nostalgic. This was Disney did say in their projections going into the weekend before the movie came out, like a good 1 month or 2 months before the movie came out, they did say that Lilo and Stitch was going to make a lot of money. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they exceeded their projections. So shout out to Disney. But there's some other things that we got to talk about as well. Lilo and Stitch had the biggest domestic opening in the history of Memorial Day. I think it said it did better than Avengers Endgame and another film. I just didn't write it down. But this is the kicker. This is what I've been saying in the past about why I think the movies is not dead and still has hope. Memorial Day weekend had the biggest domestic box office opening ever in the history of Memorial Day. They made altogether all the movies that were in the movies, from Sinners, Thunderbolts, Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible, and others. They made a grand total of $322 plus million. And that is just domestically. There's no telling how much money Memorial Day made worldwide. Guys, I've said it in the past, and I'm going to continue saying it. The movies are not dead. COVID was a big hit to the movie industry, and it introduced streaming services to where people would rather now stay at home and watch movies instead of going to the movie theater. Instead of spending $13 to go see a movie and having to drive 40 minutes away, because I am one of those individuals. My nearest movie theater, I am from a small town. My nearest movie theater to an AMC, I do have a Millstone, but not a lot of people go to Millstone. We go to AMC. My nearest AMC is an hour away. So you're talking about having to take an hour drive that will take up majority of your day. On top of having to pay $13 for a ticket for just yourself. And obviously, if you go to the movies, you're going with your family or loved ones. On top of having to spend $30 for popcorn. For even a large, because I eat a lot. I'm a big boy. I need my large popcorn and a drink when I'm at the movies. So altogether, you're looking at a very expensive trip to get to the movies. So a lot of people look at that, not me, because I love the movies. I'm just saying the average moviegoer sees that, and they say to themselves, oh, I would rather save my money, wait till it comes out on streaming, and see the movie. Because we know a film like Lilo and Stitch is going to be out on Disney Plus when its theatrical run is over. But people who always came up with that idea, that that's what majority of citizens are saying in the world, I always rebuke that. I said the problem is we're not making high quality movies. We're not making movies that are making people say, man, I have to see that on the big screen. Instead of just waiting at my house to see it when it gets out on a streaming service. I can say this. I have a father that does it. Whenever we bring up to see a film, every time almost, no matter what it is, Captain America Brave New World was one. Even though, he's not the biggest, unless it's like the main heroes like Iron Man's and all them, he's not going to go see it. And given this is a new Captain America with Sam Wilson, he wasn't as interested. But in general, with any type of film that comes out, he said this about Lilo and Stitch as well. I'll wait and see it when it comes out on Disney Plus. This is what people have been saying. And people in the media have been saying that this is going to be the future of movies. And I have rebuked that ever since. Because I am a believer in the movies. The movies has been around for years. Cinema is something that is art. It's breathtaking. There's a difference between watching a film in a movie theater than watching it at the house. I don't care what nobody says. I'll tell you guys, I'm 21 years old. Do you know the amount of people that would kill to go see a film like Iron Man 1 in the movie theater instead of at the house on Disney Plus? Because I was 4 years old when that movie came out, okay? Obviously, I never saw it. And if my mom and dad took me, I wouldn't remember what it's like. Big budget films, VFX films such as Transformers, all of the Transformers movies. You're meaning to tell me you would love to go back and see the very first Transformers movie in the theater rather than keep on seeing it at the house? Whoever tells you that, that's a lie. Top Gun, Terminator, all these big IPs, these movies that have gone down generations and generations that are historic in film. So you're meaning to tell me if we had the opportunity to go back and see these films on the big screen, that you would rather sit at home and watch them instead of going to go see them in the movies? Guys, and this is something that I have to bring up as well. And I was one of those audience members that saw it. Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith, re-released in the movies for their 20th anniversary. And they made a crap ton of money. A lot of money. And I know some outliers that you can think about is, it's Star Wars, big fan base, blah, 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 blah. But guess what? The fact is they made a bunch of money. So it adds to my argument that the people that go around and say that streaming services is going to be the new thing and the movies are going to be, look, maybe in 30 or 40 years, it probably will happen. But guess what? When it happens, I hope I'm old, rusty, and dusty and can't move no more and can't get myself to the movie theater. Let it happen then. But for right now, I want the movie theaters to still thrive. Because it is a big problem right now. And movie theaters they're coming up with these radical ideas, letting people smoke weed in the movie theater. They're even talking about building bowling alleys and mess inside movie theaters. No, that's not what it's about. It's about Hollywood. Everybody from Warner Brothers, Disney, Skydance, every big film company that makes movies, they should prioritize making good movies. And it ain't about just making movies with bigger IPs. Let's just take, for example, a movie like Sinners, an original production that was produced by WB. It wasn't Marvel. It wasn't DC. It wasn't Transformers or any big IP or existing IP. It was something brand new. And they made a lot of money. Made history. I think it made the most money ever in its genre. I think it's vampires or horror. What? I don't even know. I didn't watch it. It's not my cup of tea. But a lot of people went out there and watched it. It crossed $300 million on a $90 million budget. Warner Brothers is saying to itself, hallelujah. And then with these statistics, Lilo and Stitch made almost $350 million on its opening weekend. I could probably see a scenario it might crack $800, $900 million. We just saw Minecraft almost make $1 billion. And on top of the news, that Memorial Weekend had its biggest box office ever. And I know films like Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible and all these films were in the box office, but I get it. But still, the argument has been that people are not going to the movies as much as they did in the past. And I've always said that is a lie. I understand that COVID was around and it hit the movie industry bad. I got it. I get it. Good. Still, though, we're past that. I know the economy is worse than what it was. And it's very expensive to go to the movies. I really get it. But there are people out there. If the movie is good enough, they are going to go see it in the movie theaters. They obviously did it for Lilo and Stitch. They did it for Minecraft. They did it for Star Wars Revenge of the Sith re-release. They did it for Sinners. They did it for Mission Impossible. What makes you think they can't do that for future films? Just because we take the flops that Marvel has had, I get it, but guess what? If you make good movies with good characters, and I know I'm speaking specifically for Marvel and DC and the bigger IPs, because Marvel don't have their A-list characters right now, and it's forcing people not to come to the movies. Let's be honest. What was the odds of people showing up to see Thunderbolts with C-list characters? And you lied to people and thinking, like me, thinking that the Winter Soldier was going to have a big part in the movie. He didn't. That was just a decoy to force people to get into the theater and get them to the movie theater. But still, the movies has a future. This is further evidence of that. I'm interested to see what Superman could possibly make. Fantastic Four. More so Superman, because it's fresh. It's not a continuation of anything. But I'm telling you guys, I'm passionate about it. Because I have always said that the movies have a future. And people are still wanting to go to the movie theaters. I want people to stop spreading this lie and thinking that the movies are dead. And that people are not showing up to the movie theater anymore. And that streaming services are going to take over. Bump streaming services. I think they're great for if you want to watch old movies. But the days to where what they did during COVID and allowing these movies to be released on streaming services on top of the movie theaters, that needs to be abolished. And I think it is for the most part. Let's make good movies and get people's butts and seats in the movies and save the movie industry. What do you guys think about what I had to say? Are you shocked that Lilo and Stitch made the numbers it has made? I'm not. Are you shocked about the stat that it had that this weekend was the biggest Memorial Day opening for the domestic box office in the history of the movie industry? I want to know all your comments down below. Our very last topic that we are going to talk about is something that I didn't even know existed until I saw it yesterday pop up. The director for Top Gun, well, not Top Gun, sorry. He did direct Top Gun. But the director for Mission Impossible, Final Reckoning, Dead Reckoning, I can't even remember what the title of the movie is. I've never watched Mission Impossible, guys. It's something I need to actually watch. I watched the Top Guns. I've never watched Mission Impossible, and it's considered a very good IP. I need to watch it and give it a try. Because I kind of wanted to watch the movie because it looked pretty good. But anyways, I can't watch it because I'm not watching none of them. There's like 8 of them. It's like, my gosh. How many movies do you need to make, Tom Cruise? But that's neither here nor there. Christopher McQuarrie, who is the director of the Mission Impossible film that just hit the movies, inevitably was set to direct the Superman sequel for Man of Steel, starring Henry Cavill. And I was sitting there like, what? So I had to look at this interview. Obviously, this was posted by Discussing Film. It's where I get majority of my information from. Great media outlet. He was doing an interview for his movie, and one of the topics that the interviewer had, which great job by the guy, the journalist, by the way, he did a phenomenal job. He was asking him questions about his canceled Superman Man of Steel sequel with Henry Cavill. And I've always wanted to know where the Tom Cruise rumors came from about him playing Green Lantern. He was actually going to have Green Lantern, Hal Jordan specifically, in his Superman sequel. I was like, really? Yeah. Look, Man of Steel came out in 2013. Okay. I was a young buck. I was 9 years old. Okay. So anything from 2015, 16, I wasn't tapped in with the media by then. I was in elementary school. Okay. I wasn't able to sit and know what was going on when it comes to Man of Steel sequels, and because I've been saying this. GL, my man, one of my favorite characters in comics, my favorite superhero. He has been neglected by DC when it comes to live action. Ever since they had his movie, I don't even remember when it came out. I want to say it was 2012-ish, 2011, I think, is when they made that movie starring Ryan Reynolds. It's like Green Lantern was blackballed by DC. He wasn't in the DCEU. when Zack Snyder, even though it wasn't Hal Jordan, it was Jon Stewart. Even when he was going to put him in the film, WB didn't want to do it. And they'd rather put Martian Manhunter in there. They made a Shazam movie before they made another Green Lantern movie. Aquaman started becoming a focal point. Flash. I was sitting here like, my lord, did Green Lantern fall off the face of the earth? But anyways, we're getting too far off topic. But essentially, my man here, Christopher McQuarrie, was set to have GL in his upcoming Superman sequel. And he made a lot of comments, which I watched the interview. He didn't really go into a lot of detail about what he had in the movie. He specifically was talking about like the first 5 minutes that he was going to have filmed, where he was really talking. You could tell the guy is a filmmaker because his storytelling and the way he was explaining everything was far past my expertise. Okay, the guy was a very smart fella. But he had this quote to say. He said, and I quote, "I suddenly realized how they had amazing similarities, which also allow for amazing conflict and an amazing universe expanding." And when he was describing it in the interview, he made it sound like that he was going to do Superman versus Green Lantern. And I was like, oh my God, sign me up. Henry Cavill with GL, Hal Jordan, when it was possibly going to be Tom Cruise, because that's all Christopher McQuarrie does movies with is Tom Cruise. He's basically Tom Cruise's buddy. They're partners in crime. I was sitting there like, dude, that could have been glorious. Because I said this, there's no way on God's green earth there was no reason why Superman Henry Cavill didn't get a sequel to Man of Steel. Because till this day, I don't care what nobody says. Argue with your mama. Man of Steel is the best DCEU movie they made. I don't care what nobody says. It was better than Justice League of the Snyder Cut. It was better than the first Aquaman. It was better than Aquaman 2. It was better than Wonder Woman 1. It was better than Wonder Woman. Definitely better than Wonder Woman 2. Wonder Woman 2 was the worst movie they ever made. Better than Shazam 2. Better than Shazam 1. And it was better than Batman v Superman. Okay? I don't care. From story, well, maybe not story to a certain degree. But as far as protagonists, antagonists, supporting characters, action, CGI, VFX, everything all together put in one, it was the best quality movie the DCEU had and made. I will die on the hill saying that. And I uphold that opinion wholeheartedly. And just the mere fact that we could have had GL with Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill, do you know how much money that could have made? Whoo! Holy cow. Just wow. Absolutely wow. That could have made a crap ton of money. It's disappointing. And the way he was describing it, he just made it sound so epic. Guys, I can't even describe what the man said because it was just so smart. You could just tell he just knew exactly what he was talking about. And I was saying like, man, we were deprived. WB, what are we doing? What were we doing at the time? How did you not greenlight this project? Tom Cruise, Henry Cavill. With this man, and I looked at his past work. He's got some he's had some high quality movies and high reviewed movies that he has made. I think he only had one film that was considered rotten by Rotten Tomatoes scoring metric. And his expertise, he sounded like he described Superman to a T along with Green Lantern. Wow. Such a disappointment. What could have been? And that's what we're always going to say with Henry Cavill. What could have been? Because we were absolutely screwed and deprived of peak Superman. I love Christopher Reeve. I love everyone that's actually played Superman, honestly. But I grew up with Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill was just my guy. The movie was amazing. I mean, it established everything that you wanted out of a Superman movie. Outside of probably the big blue Boy Scout type of thing, saving the cat out of a tree aspect of Superman, it didn't have that. It was a more darker, had a darker color palette and everything else. But I wholeheartedly understand that. And when people bring up that critique, I always say, okay, I got you. I get it. But still, he was my favorite Superman. And I know David Cornsweet is probably going to do a good job. Henry Cavill will still probably be my favorite Superman. I'm not one of the Snyder Bros. I know a lot of people were claiming that in the past video that I made. I'm not a Snyder Bro. Okay. I just love DC. It's my favorite property. It's my favorite IP. Okay. I love DC. I actually spent $300 just on a bag by Wolfpack. And it had Superman on it. I mean, hey. And I know this is not an ad. I'm doing this for the Freeskies. If you guys haven't got a bag, okay, let me put it in the camera. Get you one. They are fantastic, high quality, great bag. Love it to death. I got some patches going there as well. I'm just waiting to get the order. But still, I'm just a big DC fan, okay? It's my favorite IP. And I really think not doing this project and not greenlighting it, it's a massive mistake. Probably could have changed the trajectory of the DCEU. Who knows? We just will never know. But I'm telling you guys, if you guys go look at the interview, it was amazing. It was a great interview, and the way he described it, I tried to get as many notes as I can, but the man was talking Chinese to me because he was explaining everything just so like a narrator. He was explaining it like he was writing the script for the movie. I was sitting there like, wow, this dude is very smart. I mean, he was saying how Superman, Superman's biggest enemy was himself, how Superman embodied hope, and how GL, his power is that, his biggest problem is he has to charge his battery and things of that nature. And I think he was essentially setting up Green Lantern versus Superman in the first 5 minutes of the film. And he said it was epic. Even the dude that was narrating his breath was taken away. Such a tragedy that we didn't get that. And hey, I thought it was very interesting. I want to talk about it with all my DC fans and all my fans in the comments. Whoever's watching right now, go look at the interview. Just look up Christopher McQuarrie interview on YouTube. I cannot remember the fellow's name. I didn't write it down. But yeah, look it up. It was a great interview. Need to give it a watch. There was a timestamp on it as well. But ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the Alpha Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys enjoyed my weekly spew, and if you enjoyed my new camera angle, I want to know that down below in the comments. Are you still liking the audio, the quality, and everything else? Just keep letting me know. I'm trying to improve as we go. But more importantly, guys, oh yeah. Are you enjoying me, distinctly having stuff by niches, by just having a podcast about pop culture and having a podcast about sports? I want to know that as well. I kind of like it. It keeps me on track. It keeps me on the same, the energy stays the same. Because when I transition from sports and then talk about pop culture stuff, it's like, oh my gosh. It's like having to change up two different personalities. But anyway, more importantly, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like button or follow wherever you are watching. If you're watching on via YouTube or by Apple or Spotify, and let me know that you'll support me. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and tap that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. And if you are listening via Spotify, hit that follow button for me, because I have a lot of stuff coming up for you guys in the future. I thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode of the Alpha Podcast, and I will see you guys on the next one. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya.